Good morning, everyone. My name is Kresge. I'm a client lead at Basis Technologies. Basis is a paid digital firm based here in Chicago. For any of those that aren't familiar, we marry best-in-class media services with first-of-its-kind media buying technology. And we're here today to discuss marketing innovation, which is a very broad and evergreen topic within the industry. Reaching consumers most effectively as society and technology evolve requires perpetual innovation. How do marketing teams even begin to systemize this effort? What do they focus on, and where do they dedicate their resources? These are tough questions, and I am glad I don't have to answer them because I've got Laurie Blair here with me this morning. She's the VP of Global Marketing at Hyatt. Laurie, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. Thank you for having me. And yes, Brandon and I are chatting about hosting a Hyatt, although, you know, for someone in hospitality, I had to cancel on him last minute yesterday because there's a company-wide event in our space today, and I didn't know, so my bad. Anyways, I lead global marketing for Hyatt. I've been there. My one-year anniversary is this week. I feel super lucky to have landed at Hyatt. I lead all consumer marketing globally, brand marketing across our many brands, and then B2B marketing as well, sales, meetings and events, corporate, etc. I have media and creative underneath as well.
Laurie, I know you have a heart out, so we can
jump
right into it.
That's all right.
At Basis, I think we talk to our clients a lot about future-proofing. I think we'll hear that term a lot today as well. And well, that's great. How do we use what we know to have a proactive but defensive strategy for brands? I think it's a little bit more than that to be innovative, right? To win through innovation, brands, especially mega brands like Hyatt, really need to be on the offensive as well. I think there's a duality to innovation. So with your team, Laurie, how do you balance the need to be a vertical trailblazer, but also modernize with a lot of speed?
Yeah, it's I think something that, especially as a marketer, is a really delicate balance. I've never been one to focus on those flash in the pan things that are just going to get a bunch of buzz, but not really make an impact to either the business, the brand, or of course the consumer. And so, the most important thing that we do in marketing is focus on the consumer and what's going to make the most impact, and how can we use innovation and data to benefit their experience and of course drive business results. And so that always is what we focus on. We make sure that we have a set aside budget to test and learn and to try groundbreaking things. But trailblazing happens, I think, more at a slow and steady pace than just this, let's do this thing to, make a bunch of headlines. I look at, some other brands who have explored, like the metaverse, for example, and, most consumers just aren't there yet. And so how do we make sure we're keeping those types of things on the radar and having those conversations? But, the need to be first or biggest, I think it's more important to be best. And so that's, how we are constantly balancing the trade-offs between, trailblazing, and then, of course, there's also the defensive too, right? There's regulatory, especially at a global scale, changing constantly. And so how can we make sure we're leaning into, playing defense, playing offense with, those ideas that are really going to move the needle, and then every once in a while testing on some of those kind of big future ideas.
Love that. And speaking specifically to kind of the offensive, yes. Where do you see Hyatt currently having a leadership role or really cutting edge advantage within the hospitality industry?
Yeah, this is an easy one, and it's loyalty. Maybe you all saw the headlines of Delta earlier, with really and that's a trend that we're seeing in the industry altogether, and not even just the hospitality industry, but with loyalty in general, is most companies are taking things away. And Hyatt has always been grounded in our purpose, caring for people so they can be their best. And that's something that we are continuing to lean into and invest in. And the loyalty program, of course, is a way for us to gather consumer data, anticipate our member needs, and so on and so forth. But it's also a way for us to connect to our brand purpose, really stand for something, and offer the experiences that our members are looking for. So, just to tease out some things that we're going to be doing in the new year, and you'll see the news soon, but when everyone else is taking things away, we're investing even more in experiences. We are ensuring that members have choices, whether it's more points, more experiences, more upgrades, well-being focus, ability to gift and share. One of the things that we've become famous for that is unique and differentiated is what our Guest of Honor program. And Guest of Honor is for our top elite tier can gift their status to any other member, and they receive all of the benefits of that elite status on a trip. Right now, it's fairly limited, and we're going to be investing even more in experiences like that, because hospitality and travel is all about connection and sharing in those moments, and whether it's connection to colleagues on a business trip, connection to your loved ones, of course, or even connection to self. And so how can we foster and invest more in our members and care not just about the people that are spending the money with us, but the things and the people that they care about too. And that's been extremely beneficial from a brand standpoint, but also, of course, if you invest in loyalty, it'll reap the rewards from a data standpoint, which will then help grow the business. And so I'm really excited about where we're going in the loyalty space from an innovation standpoint.
Amazing. And for guests, that seems like something that would absolutely resonate. It does to me, as someone that doesn't tend to be super brand loyal. What does that look like in practice for your team? You mentioned you've got a 30-person marketing team. How do you get that message out to the guests so they're aware of this innovation?
Yeah, it's really hard, right? Especially in a complicated business like Hyatt. We have our corporate brand, which is Hyatt. We have the World of Hyatt, which is sort of our parent brand, the loyalty program. We're working on how we move that from just the loyalty program to really our portfolio brand. And then we have 30 plus property brands and growing. And so how do we balance the need to drive awareness of the benefits of the program versus just, hey, did you guys know that Thompson or Andaz is also part of the Hyatt family, which we still hear all the time that people don't. Balancing the needs of growing our corporate business partners and our meetings and events, and what are the benefits that we can lean into there, and also recognizing that most corporate travelers are also, using their points on leisure trips. And so there's so many different ways to slice priorities, focus, and using our data and insights, building audiences. I know many of you in the room are probably, really ingrained in work like that. We're, I think, in hospitality as an industry, not as advanced as many other industries. I come from a retail background, and I think retail probably has a leg up in many industries because they've been collecting data on people for so long and using it in a really sophisticated way. We're still getting there. There is a lot of opportunity in how we think about our members more holistically, how we look at data that goes beyond just how many nights they've stayed with us, but really diving deeper into that. And those are some of the things that we're still learning and working on every day.
So knowing that hospitality brands may not be as technologically advanced, let's flip over to the defensive side of innovation and the need to modernize according to the market and
Yeah, I think, data and privacy, I think, is a huge one, especially when you look at the global scale of our business. We can't treat every member the same, whether it's something as simple as opt-ins and marketing preferences to the overall user experience. That is something that continues to be a huge challenge, I think, for any global business, and so trying to partner really closely with my privacy friends, but also push them in like, well, can we do this? That's always the push and pull. But I would say that's probably the biggest challenge, is trying to be proactive versus reactive, but also how can we do what's right for the business and not play it so safe that we are sacrificing moments to get in front of our members. On the flip side, I think AI is, we would be remiss if AI didn't come up time and time again in conversations throughout the day, and that's an opportunity for us to really lean in. And we've been at Hyatt using AI for some time. We have our own built personalization engine that is fueled by data scientists and my marketing team and many others across our own channels. It pipes into paid, but we're looking at other ways to use AI to sort of lean in and advance how people think about and use technology. An example right now is anytime anyone here is searching for a trip, you may have a good idea of where you want to go, but by the time you go into any booking engine, you're looking up a specific city on specific dates, and then adjusting accordingly. In a future state, why wouldn't AI just enable a trip planner where you want to get away from Chicago because it's the middle of winter, you want to do some golfing, you want an easy flight, and that builds a trip for you rather than having to be so precise. So that's a very obvious example of where Hyatt and other brands need to be thinking about plugging AI in to sort of lead consumer behavior in a new way that will benefit everyone. And so those are things that we're also thinking about and starting to dabble.
I'd love to talk about the data thread a little bit here, because of course Hyatt has a massive amount of data and likely a big first-party data advantage. How are you responding to regulatory concerns and privacy concerns in how you foster that data and how you apply it to your company strategy?
Yeah, there's no easy example, and I have a powerful team that sits across every market and region, and we're still learning how to do it in the right way that enables and puts the power in the marketer's hands from a first-party data usage standpoint, because we all know, I don't need to convince anyone in this room, that first-party data is the best thing for a marketer to be able to understand not just our own consumers, but find more of them. And so, from a very, tactical standpoint, I have a very regular meeting with privacy, with legal, and my regional marketers, and we're looking through, and asking the right questions of how can we do this differently? How do we look at, not just our paid marketing, but our owned as well? Does a transactional reservation email where we include a little marketing blurb about join World of Hyatt or book this spa experience, does that count as marketing or does it not? And so, I don't know that anyone has the answer. It's really, an ongoing dialogue, and it's about staying close with the stakeholders. And I'm a pusher, so I'm always gonna push and be at the bounds of what's legal.
That's actually an amazing segue, because my last question for you is, how do you, on a leadership level, on a personal level, foster innovation within your team and with stakeholders and push the ball moving forward? What are some takeaways that some of the folks here could learn from your efforts at Hyatt to drive innovation?
Yeah, I'd say there's at a very tactical level, like I mentioned, carving out specific budget and resource to test and learn, whether it's test and learn at a tactical level or at a much bigger picture, AI tools or metaverse like I talked about, but you have to give the space. It can't just be a bonus project. We've all worked at companies where your plate is full and then someone wants you to take on this thing that's a lot of work, and you don't know what the reward is going to be. And so making sure we're clearing bandwidth and resources to be able to do something right, to really learn. But at a larger and more broad leadership level, I like to think about my team and kind of staffing a three-legged stool. There's, especially, like I'm new to Hyatt, right? And I'm new to hospitality. There's benefit to that, right? So one leg of your stool should be just strong industry players, strong marketing talent, strong brand talent, strong media talent, whatever it may be, that has well-rounded, broad experience across verticals that can bring the best of other ways of thinking into a vertical. There's then vertical talent. We have a ton of people on my team across the marketing and brand teams that have worked at SPG or Starwood, when Starwood, before they got bought by Marriott, and other players that bring a foundational level of knowledge of what are the best brands in this vertical doing. And then of course there's the people who have been at the organization for a long time. They make up the culture, they know what's been done and why it's been done, they have that in-depth history. And I think those three legs of the stool together can create the most magic, and you need that balance. You need people who can say, ooh, it didn't work last time, but here's why. And you need people that'll come in and push and trailblaze and lean in and say, we did this thing at this company and it worked so well. And so, that's always what I look for in talent, and having a good balance of that to bring the most thought leadership. And finally, the role of brand and marketing in an organization is changing tremendously. We're seeing more CMOs become CEOs. When I joke, I have a couple of former Walgreens friends in the room, but 10 years ago when I started at Walgreens marketing, I like to say, were poster makers. Like, we have this thing, it's flu season, can you create a sign for our doors? That, of course, evolved over time, but we are not just sort of the tail end of product development or communications. We represent the consumer in every conversation across the organization, and we need to be at the forefront of what they're caring about, and where tech and data and everything is going to really advance business strategy. And it's an exciting time, I think, to be in marketing for that reason.
I would absolutely agree with that. It's a very exciting, very different time right now, but it sounds like there's a lot of great things on the horizon for Hyatt in 2024. We're excited to see that. Laurie, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and insights today. This was
Thank you all. Great to meet you.